Hello, public opinion aficionados, and welcome to Rasmussen Reports. And yes, we will talk about the psychological operation that happened last week. We have some unique analysis that really you're only going to get from me about that particular topic because it was me again, like just telling the entire world they're lying, and they were lying, and we caught them, and we have the charts to prove it. Here is President Trump's daily snapshot from today. 50% approval, 48% disapprove, net +2, back above water, 45% right track, only a -7 approval index. That's not bad for Trump. He's going to probably stay between -5 and -10. And as we looked at last week, that puts him higher than definitely Obama, or definitely Biden, but actually Obama for most of Obama's 8 years. 59% GOP strong approval, getting back up to 60. Want to see it back up to 65. That's where he came into office. 78% total Republican approval. The Democrat approval ticking back up. And again, I understand that my Republicans and Democrats are a little bit different than the ones in Ipsos. Ipsos Democrats have like a 94% Trump disapproval. Here it's only 70. And part of that is because I'm polling likely voters, and they've built the panel for themselves. And so their panel stays the same. If a whole bunch of my Democrats just go and screw off because they're done with politics and they can't stand news, maybe they'll show up some other day, but they probably won't show up at the ballot box tomorrow if we held the election. And so I think my numbers are reflective. If they want to get rid of, if they want that kind of response bias, they have to like identify that trend and like kick those people out of the panel or something, right? So, anyways, I think mine is probably closer to reality. And the Democrats, this number is incredible. To see a 28% Democrat Trump approval, I don't know why it's that high. And it'll probably go down, especially as we approach elections. But the Democrats are in mental disarray. It isn't just what you see on Twitter and Reddit and Blue Sky, fragmenting into echo chambers and self-examination and flirting with violent uprisings. They've stopped taking place. It's affecting them. And some of them are obviously changed. Like, oh, well, actually Trump came in and he didn't set the world on fire. I don't know. We haven't seen the end of it yet. The independent number, this is pretty bad for Trump, but it's probably just swinging around. 44% approve, 53% disapprove, so underwater 9. I think it was underwater just like 4 or 5 a couple days ago with independents. Whatever. It'll be back. And not much to speak of among the race signals, except for 45% black approval's pretty good as well. You could say, oh, there's no way that his black approval's that high. Yeah, I don't know. My white approval's probably lower than other pollsters as well. And at the end of the day, nobody really knows the true answer. And I'm pretty happy with the way my numbers have performed. So I think I'm right. But this is the information op. Here we are on Real Clear Politics. And you can go down and just look at the polls, and coming into like, mid-April, beginning of April, you're like, oh, Trump +3. Oh, Trump +4, a -5, a +6, a -4, a +1. Everything was netting actually pretty close to like underwater a point or two, right? And then you just see, again, I don't know what the hell's going on with this Pew outlier. Quinnipiac didn't even have Trump that low. That's ridiculous. But everybody's still, putting out low single digits or positive. And then this wall hit of -11, -13, -14, -10, -12, -10, -12, -10, all from these guys: Reuters, CNN, CBS, ABC, Washington Post, Reuters, Ipsos, all the same names, all at once, right before the 100-day mark, transparent as hell. I spent all last Monday and last Tuesday on media. People saw me on Crowder. I went on Benny Johnson, just saying like they're lying again, and they were lying again. And I got some charts, but look, they all dropped their -12s, and now we're back to Emerson tie. Emerson's good. They're like a point to the left of me. Emerson tie. Trafalgar +2. I -5, but like again, that's in I think, within the margin of error of where I think the mean is at, which is like probably a Trump. I don't know. I think it's like a Trump -2, Trump -1, and we're probably at the upside of like a noise cycle. But Rasmussen reports Trump +2 today. Like all this stuff is saying that the answer is like -1, -2, and yet the index is 6.3 points underwater. It was down to 7.5. Look at this shape of the chart up here. Where is it? It's like here is where all the financial chaos was, but only here is where the polling got bad and immediately reverted. Totally non-organic. And I didn't see really anything like that. I wasn't the only one. We polled last week on what people thought about political pollsters. They say, yeah, they're lying and manipulating their numbers. They don't trust them. They're politically motivated. And Rich says they aren't just bad at their jobs, they're lying to you. So it's not just me saying that. Yeah, no, there's no legitimate way to get to -12. The -12 herd is just not real. We're not finding a crazy recall vote. We didn't collect an overly conservative sample. Rich got, I think, Trump +1. Same thing as me. So you have Qantas, Trafalgar, Rich Barris, me. Where the hell's Atlas? They're probably all over the place. I don't know. All of us are saying that Trump is like +1, +2, maybe net zero. That's where he's at. And so I said, you know what? Let's try and figure out a way to capture exactly what happened here, to show the lie. And here's how I think I did it. This dotted red line is Rasmussen reports Trump net approval. And you'll notice it's nightly, it swings around. It's got a plus or minus 3-point margin of error. We would expect that. And it got really volatile in April because April was a chaotic month. We had a really high swing. Trump was net +6. He was also net -5, underwater 5 points, 11-point swing. That happens sometimes. Happens in periods of response bias and rapid change. But I said, you know what? Look at the Real Clear Politics aggregate. I went and typed it in by hand, and it's pretty steadily declining. And I don't dispute that Trump's approval has steadily declined. That's what happens when a new president gets in office. It steadily declines until it hits a floor, and then it stays at the floor until they screw something up, like Biden did. And why their numbers are less noisy than me is because they'll get a CNN to drop a poll, and then they'll get a Rasmussen to drop the poll, and those things will like balance out. They have a lot of numbers getting pumped through that aggregate, and you can see their numbers smoother. So I said, hey, you know what? There's a lot of ways I could do this. Let's just do a linear fit. And so that's what this red line is. This is a linear fit of all of our polling, because that's kind of what they're doing, sort of, right? Almost. And what the purple line is the difference between the Real Clear Politics index and my linear fit. And so you can perceive this to be how different is the industry from like the corrected average of where Rasmussen is on a given day. And you can see that the number has gotten bigger. So the purple is the right-hand axis, if you haven't figured that out already. And so they started only 1 point to the left of us. It's like 1.25. That's not bad. They actually came in and started in January almost exactly where Rasmussen was. The entire polling industry, Morning Consult, everybody. But then they've steadily moved farther and farther left. There was a rapid flood because look, our Trump polling in the beginning here was kind of flat. There was a rapid flood as the industry moved farther left on Trump from 1 point to the left of us to roughly about 3 points, where it stayed between 3.5 points to the left of us. You can see the red line and the blue line are roughly parallel here. April 7th, see this dot right here? April 7th. That is really where I mean, the Liberation Day happened the 2nd. 7th was when he declared, when the market hit, like it was going to be Black Monday. I think Black Monday was April 10th. This was sheer and utter chaos here. And yet, the Real Clear Politics industry aggregate stayed about 3.5 points to the left of Rasmussen, to our average. Then what happened? The weekend before Trump's 100 days in office, and look at this ridiculous spike. They went from 3.5 points to the left of Rasmussen to 6 points, 3 points of lying out of nowhere just in a week. Just in a week. And this has people who weren't lying in it. So there must have been a lot of lying by the unscrupulous pollsters. And I say lying, you can never know. A lot of them are just incompetent. But when so many of them are incompetent all at once, as if coordinated to elicit a very explicit outcome here, they wanted to spike Trump's 100-day numbers. And they don't care how obvious it was. It stands out plain as day like a beacon on this chart. You can see that something happened. Like, this is not natural. Look at that chart. I did it a bunch of different ways. I used a moving average of my numbers. I used my numbers. And even with these crazy swings, you could tell that the industry just jerked left. Look, you could see it. The slope like doubles here in this blue line. Where did that come from? CNN, CBS, Washington Post, Reuters, Ipsos, Fox News, all of those names. But let's not stop there. Here are some important observations about this chart I'm going to show you. These mainstream media pollsters definitely dumped extra hostile polls last week, even before they were about 3 to 7 points left of us, even before that. Then it got worse. Then we put out more polls by far than all of those names. That's another very important thing. And then look at that cluster at the end here. So, like, let's look at this. Let me embiggen it. Okay. I just picked the ones that I thought all dropped very suspicious polls. Reuters, Ipsos, Economist, YouGov, CBS, CNN, NPR, Fox News, ABC, Washington Post, and the New York Times. ABC and the New York Times were the most egregious, in my opinion, because New York Times hadn't polled at all. They didn't poll for the inauguration even. They didn't poll for the end of Biden's term. They're one of the most respected pollsters, according to Nate Silver. And they don't even have their own numbers for what Biden's final approval rating is, because they just didn't put a poll out. That's really wild. But they showed up the weekend before Trump's 100 days to drop a stink bomb, to drop a Trump -12 stink bomb, and all these others did too. So I stripped out the rest. These are their net approval numbers in blue, all these dots. And the orange ones are ours. And look how many more orange ones there are from just one pollster than from this cabal of less than honest mainstream media pollsters. But there to the left of us, sure, this is a 10-period moving average, this dotted line. They're to the left of us, but not like horribly in the middle of March. We were at Trump +2 or 3. They were at Trump -3. So about 5-6 points apart. It grew to about 7 points apart here. And of course, our numbers fluctuated a lot because of that period of chaos. Look at this cluster they all dumped. Look, more polls. There's a lot of them overlapping here because they were dumped at the same time and they had the exact same results. There's like, what is this? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 12 polls all in like a 2 or 3 day period. And that's more than they polled like all of January and February. All in like 2 or 3 days just for the 100 days. And look at that cluster. Look at how unnatural it looks. It's like they're shooting all over the place, and all of a sudden they all turn and shot here. And look at what it did to the moving average. Isn't it blatant? And again, our number is swinging. One source of data, it's a random walk. It's going to do that. Theirs are all these different methodologies canceling each other out. So this line shouldn't really move that much. Look at that ridiculous jerk in the moving average. They got to, what is this? Negative, the moving average is negative 11. Looks like if some of these dropped off, it'd probably be at like negative 12. We're at 0. So they went from 6 points to the left of us to like 12 points to the left of us in a 3-day period. And all of us honest pollsters are looking around like, what? Like, what are they doing? Emerson's putting out a Trump tie. It's like so blatantly obvious. I can't even. So this chart, I think you should screenshot it and spread it. It really shows exactly what's going on. I should probably put other pollsters here, right? People have said, oh, we need a better aggregate. We need all of the right pollsters to put an aggregate. Like, I don't know. Maybe you should have a good and a bad one to compare because, I mean, that's just absolutely incredible. If you've learned something, please follow us at rasmussenreports.com, Rasmussen_poll at Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Mark_R_Mitchell at Twitter. And thanks for watching.